Welcome to Leads 2020 for GFWC Georgia. My name is Becky Bolden.
And I'm Diane De Gaetano.
And I'm Frida Tyler, and I represent the Junior Conference. And we are the Leadership Committee for 2020-2022.
As you can see, we're wearing our top hats today to learn more about leadership. As leaders, we have to wear many different hats, and we're going to touch on a few today.
And we're extremely happy that you're joining us today. Since we could not meet in person, we're going to try to make this as informative, interesting, and fun as possible. Let's begin by introducing our state president, Shelby Holland, and our director of junior clubs, Dana Skelton. I've asked each of them to join us today and greet us and share just a little bit about their journey toward their leadership position today. Welcome to Leads 2020. Today, I want to welcome our state president, Shelby Holland, to our meeting. Shelby is a 33-year club woman, and she's served in many positions, including club positions, club president, district president. She was the director of junior clubs for Georgia. She also served as every one of the executive positions on the executive committee, and she's just an amazing president for us right now. Shelby is truly an inspiration to me. She's accepted me into this organization, and I admire her so much, so I'm really happy she's here tonight. She's also an excellent vocalist. If you've never heard her sing, then you will have to hear that one time because she is excellent. And she's also an executive assistant to the executive team at Patterson Pump. But she's most importantly a wife to Ronald, a mother to Hillary, and Gigi to Lily and May. I've asked her to join us and to bring greetings. So welcome, Shelby. It's an honor to have you with us today. And would you bring greetings to us?
Thank you, Becky. It's my pleasure to be here. And hello, GFWC Georgia. I'm excited to welcome you to be a part of Leads Hats Off to Leadership. We will learn to smile workshop. I'm excited that you are willing to take your time to view the video. This session should have been delivered firsthand at August Institute, but we had to refer to Plan B. So I am thankful that Becky, Diane, and Frida have recorded this for you. This is great leadership training. You're going to get a lot of value from viewing this video. Little did I understand that leadership training would be available to me as I came up to be a GFWC Georgia member 33 years ago. But however, I have had some wonderful mentors to allow me to progress to be the club president, district president, director of junior clubs, and on the executive board. My mentors have just stepped up and led me, but I've had some wonderful ladies such as Pat Swan, Diane Bronk, Doris Hutchins, Brenda Martin, Shireen Daniel, Tina Daniel. Those are the ones that come to mind at the moment. But I've had so many ladies who are willing to step up and help me. And you know, even if I now need direction, I can call these ladies, and they're willing to stake their time and to tell me what I need to do, what they think I need to do. It's been a fun journey. It's been a long journey, but I have learned so much, and I am still learning every day. So I think you will be this leadership challenge that you're going to be offered today. You're going to find extraordinary things that, you know, you're going to be given thoughts and direction from the leadership team. And again, I thank Becky and Diane and Frida for putting this together for us. They are an awesome leadership team. And in closing, I would just like to say one thing that I think is very important for us to realize as club women. you may have heard this in some form or fashion before, but Sheryl Sandberg shared this. She says, I want every little girl who's told she's bossy to be told instead she has leadership skills. And that's what I believe for each and every one of you. You do have leadership skills, and you're just furthering that process by viewing this video. Thank you so much.
Well, Dana, hello and welcome to Leads 2020.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Well, I want to introduce to everybody our Director of Junior Clubs for Georgia, and that is Dana Skelton. I've asked her to come today and to share just a couple minutes about her position and her passion and her journey to leadership. So welcome, Dana.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to serve in the GFWC Georgia. I actually started out, and I believe I was the reporter for my club in 1997 or 98. So I actually did the newsletter and all kind of things like that. But it was a lot of fun, and I got my feet wet that way. And then I got into bylaws, and then I was like, wow, there's districts, and then there's state, and I'm like, wow. So I actually been junior director within the state before. And then my first state position was actually junior conference chair or co-chair actually. And it was quite interesting. I think that was in 2000. So it's been quite a journey. I've been a member since 98. So lots of fun. I love the longtime family friends that I've made. And those people are just amazing. So, and every club member has my heart. So I love serving.
That's right. And we're wearing your shirts today.
Yes, yes. And my passion is invisible disabilities and mental health awareness. I have some diagnoses, and I do have learning disabilities and a traumatic brain injury, which does cause a lot of other residual effects as well. I'm also a rehabilitation counselor, and I actually help people with accommodations like myself so that they can better their lives.
Well, thank you so much for joining and sharing a little bit about your passion and about your journey in GFWC. And we look forward to seeing you soon when we can all get back together again.
Yes, and thank you so much for putting this together.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Welcome back, ladies. Thank you to Shelby and to Dana for visiting with us today. We are honored to serve under your leadership during these 2 years.
Let's quickly review our agenda and format for today. We've broken down the training into 2 sessions. We will have great information on communications and training your officers and CSPs, as well as a visit from our GFWC International Leadership Chair, Shannon Bailey.
We will wrap up with an evaluation and information on the Leads 2021 application, and as well as our summary of hats of leadership. We will have our materials available for you to download, and always remember the yearbook is full of valuable information.
So, Diane and Frida, are we ready to get started? With all of our great information, here's to hats off to leadership.
Well, good afternoon. I would like to welcome and introduce to our Georgia Club women, Shannon Bailey. Shannon is currently serving as the GFWC Leadership Chair for 2020-2022. Shannon is a 23-year-old club woman and has served in numerous positions, including her most recent of Director of Junior Clubs for Florida. I met Shannon a few years ago when we were beginning our journey as junior directors together. She's one of my Southern sisters, and I've grown to love and admire her so much. I've asked her today to join us and share just a few minutes about the resources available to us from GFWC. She has a toolbox of ideas to share Welcome, Shannon, to GFWC Georgia Leads 2020.
Thank you, Becky. I'm not sure if you said I was a 23-year club woman or a 23-year-old club woman, but obviously I've been in 23 years. I've been around the block a little. Greetings, my sisters to the north. See, I'm the only one that can say that. I come to you from St. Pete, Florida, and I am so proud to be a fellow Southern sister, and you are in such good hands with Becky Bolden. I can't wait to be in person with her and wrap myself around a selfie stick with her and enjoy some ice cream with her. So if you know her at all, you know that that's her jam. I'm so honored to be serving as GFWC's Leadership Committee Chairman, and I am the Southern representative on that committee as well. So if you have questions, I'm not only the chairman, but I'm your girl in our Southern region. So let me know what questions you have, and then of course Becky is your state leader and is well qualified to serve as leadership chairman for Georgia. So y'all are in very good hands. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about kind of where we're going this administration with leadership. A little bit of this may sound familiar if you saw the GFWC leadership webinar, but if you didn't get a chance, then this will be new. If you saw the webinar, it's a refresher. So leadership is influence. We all have influence. It's not about a title. Are you a parent? You have influence. Do you have friends? You have influence. Are you breathing? You have influence. I want to give a shout out to GFWC Ohio. I saw on Facebook that their theme for their administration is influence is responsibility. And I love that because we all have influence. So we all have a responsibility for our own success and the success of our club and our federation. So how do we use the influence we all have? Regardless of your role in your club or your district, you can help set the tone. You can help create a healthy club culture. Have you had a good experience as a club woman? Then pay it forward. Have you not had such a great experience? Then you can be part of the solution and make it better. I believe that GFWC offers us opportunities for meaningful relationships, opportunities for meaningful service, and opportunities for personal enrichment and leadership development. These are the benefits that our GFWC membership gives us and what potential members are looking for. Relationships, our friendships built, feeling like a sisterhood, what we offer each other when we're at our best, and how we help each other become our best. Service, we've got that hands down. That's the easy part. The variety of service opportunities available to club women sets us apart from the hospital auxiliary or a business networking group. And an opportunity for growth. That's the third leg on the stool that makes us special. We are a huge, dynamic organization of amazing women, encouraging and supporting and challenging each other. This is a selling tool for membership recruitment and retention. Leadership makes a difference. The chance to learn leadership skills in a supportive environment is a huge benefit of membership. It's not tied to your job, and you can stretch and grow and try new things within your club work that can serve you well. To be mentored and to mentor others as you build relationships and serve in your community is a priceless opportunity. The skills, people think that leadership is telling people what to do. What leadership really is integrity, casting a vision, using your influence, use of power, praising your team, self-awareness, listening first, speaking last, and empathy. Those skills apply to every area of our lives, and you can learn them here in GFWC. GFWC International President Marion St. Clair developed a passion and became a master gardener because of her work in her club's conservation projects. And she honed writing skills while producing the South Carolina Club Woman magazine that led to a professional writing career. For me, the light bulb came on once I finally agreed to serve as my junior club president and discovered that I loved it and that it was easier than chairing the annual fundraiser. Attending state meetings helped me see how my little club was part of a much larger organization where I could learn, grow, and make an impact. So one of the tools that we have for you this administration that's going to help you in those areas of personal growth and development, as well as helping fellow members grow, is the Leadership Toolkit. So it should be uploaded very soon on the member portal for GFWC. So you want to be sure that you create your own login for GFWC and gain access to that member portal. It's different from whatever kind of login you may have to the GFWC Georgia website or any of that. This is for the national level, and every club member can get a login onto that member portal. The toolkit was part of the 2018-2020 Strategic Planning Committee update to the strategic plan. The first half was adopted a year ago at the 2019 Board of Directors meeting in Austin. And the updates in the leadership advancement area called for, among other leadership initiatives, the creation of a digital resource. So there's almost 40 resources that are in the toolkit. It is being fixed, approved right now, and should be uploaded really soon. It might even be ready by the time you see this. The topics were requested by the GFWC Board of Directors, including state presidents and directors, and are provided by the Leadership Committee, other GFWC chairmen, and GFWC officers. So what's in it? There's 3 different areas that are in it. First is personal enrichment and development. This is kind of on the idea of who you are comes before what you do. Leadership is being before doing, which is a quote by John Maxwell. So items that are in the the personal development area of the leadership toolkit are presentation skills, time management, setting achievable goals, casting a vision, empowered well-being, understanding body language cues. And we're really excited about a resource that's a personal development resource list. So books, recommended books and podcasts and videos. In addition to the books on the resource list, be sure to check out the podcasts, the TED Talks, and the websites. All of those are great ways to get ideas and content. If a book feels like too much, or if you really don't have time to read a whole book, that's totally fine. The idea is to get the ideas out of the book. So podcasts and TED Talks have become a huge help for me. This last several months have been just as busy for me, even though everything came to a halt. I'm still running a business with my husband. I was helping my state as junior director, like Becky was, helping my state figure out all of the Plan Bs. And I've spent a minute or two on this leadership position. So walking the dog every day instead of eating my feelings has been crucial. And I've listened to a ton of podcasts, TED Talks, and even YouTube videos while walking or driving. So if the idea of accessing those podcasts, TED Talks are new to you, just let Becky know and she can help you. And if she's not sure or stuck on anything, I can help you too. So lots of great resources, and also a lot that you can do if you just have 15 minutes or 30 minutes on a drive and want to access some resources. The next area of the toolkit is the development of members. So these are tools to encourage and develop and train our fellow members. So these are higher level people skills. And the quote that goes along with this is, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Of course, that's by Maya Angelou. So since we know that everyone's a leader, you don't have to hold a leadership role in order to benefit from the tools in this section. There may be topics here that would help you at work or your place of worship or with your family. And again, that's a benefit of membership. You may learn something as a GFWC clubwoman that you really apply in a different area of your life. Some of those topics are identifying potential club leaders, creating a plan of succession, a checklist for leadership transition. So an incoming president can go over it with the outgoing president or any officer to make sure that they have all the materials and know everything that they need to feel confident taking over that position. Why wouldn't that make a big difference in how you feel saying yes to a new position? Setting a cooperative tone and instilling healthy club culture and effective communication tools. So that's the development of members area. And then the last area is resources for club, district, and state leaders. And again, you don't have to be an officer. These are helpful for anyone. So these are operational. Any club president or anyone in a club can feel confident moving into a new position. These are all the tools that you need that a new club or an existing club can be well run and hopefully kind of drama-free. It raises the level of what each club can access, so that those skills can be mastered, and then you can move on to really developing leaders within your club or your district. And the quote that goes along with that is by James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, which is one of our recommended resources. Stop worrying about how long it will take and get started. Time will pass either way. Well, we've seen that the last 6 months, haven't we? And some topics in that section are officer duties and responsibilities, conducting business utilizing an agenda, conflict resolution, lots of information about the benefits of belonging to GFWC, GFWC history. There's a new member orientation PowerPoint that's going to be in that. Information about starting a new club, protocol, parliamentary procedure, sample bylaws, using social media. So some of these resources are also other places within the club manual, but the point of them being in the leadership toolkit is to be able to just go and look at one topic that you need information on and be able to download just that resource instead of going through all of the club manuals. So with those kinds of things in mind, once you get the toolkit, just be thinking about what task or challenge is before you in your club or your district. Do you need tools of time management or organization? Do you need to learn more about strategic thinking, conflict resolution, coaching, or giving feedback? Do you want to grow in relational skills? What will you build with the right tools? So that's a little summary for you. Becky, back to you. And thank you so much for having me, Becky. I miss you. I miss you so hard.
And I miss you so hard too. So it has really been tough not being together. It really has.
Yeah.
But I thank you, Shannon. Wow, that was amazing. Just hearing all those resources.
I'm worn out.
But I mean, so much is available to us as club women that we just have to reach out and get it, and there's no cost to it. It's just all part of being a member. So we really should take advantage of those. And,
absolutely. And so much of what's on there was requested when we surveyed all of the incoming state presidents and directors. And the idea was that, you know, clubs shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel on any of this, an agenda or protocol or bylaws, or even just, you know, how do you make a smooth succession plan in between club officers? And so the idea is that our entire national GFWC organization has a level playing field in what we have access to. And so Georgia is such a strong state and such a strong state federation that, you know, y'all may take for granted the kinds of tools that you have, but there are state federations and clubs that really feel like they have to reinvent the wheel. And so this really is for everybody. And we encourage you in GFWC Georgia to figure out if there is something that y'all do great, or that you feel once the toolkit comes out, if you feel like there's a piece missing and you can help fill in that piece, then let us know. We're taking really any submissions. That'll be kind of the next phase of the toolkit. Once this one, once we've given birth to this one, then the second sibling will come along.
And if anyone missed the webinar that went on back in July, I believe you can register. Is it through today? Anyway, we just want to tell you, if you haven't, then you definitely need to reach out and try to register for that, because
they are reshowing all 6 of them. Yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It really, really was. So I encourage people to do that. So, but thank you, Shannon. Now everyone knows why I think you're so fantastic.
Love you, miss ya.
You're definitely a great leader, and I'm the one that's blessed to call you my friend. So I miss you, and thank you again. And we will see each other soon. I just feel sure about that.
Yes, see you soon, my sisters to the north, the great north, I-75.
Bye.
I would like to introduce to you our GFWC Georgia District Chairman for the Leadership 2020 through 2022. From the Central East District is Tina Daniel. Central West is Laureen Lindsay. Northeast is Patty Gabriano. Northwest is Judine Hurd. Southeast is Hilda Haggerty. And Southwest is Sandy Parrish. I've asked each one of them to also share with you one of their leadership quotes, and that is listed here as well. So thank you. If you need any assistance from your district leadership chairs, these are the ladies to call upon, as well as Diane, Frida, and myself. And all of their contact information is in the yearbook. I would like to welcome today our Georgia Past President, Tina Daniel. I'm sure that most of you know Tina and admire her leadership as much as I do. Tina is currently serving as the GFWC Education and Libraries Chair for 2020 through 2022. She's a 30-year club woman and has served in numerous positions, including club president on numerous occasions. She served as district president and all of the executive committee positions, with her latest as the president of Georgia. I've asked her to join us today and share a few minutes about the personal motivators of leadership. So welcome, Tina, to our Lee's 2020 webinar. We're so excited that you could join us.
Thank you, Becky. It was an honor to serve as the 2018-2020 State President of Georgia, and I will cherish those 2 years and in my role now as Life Director. So I appreciate that support. And so Becky asked me today to talk about some things about GFWC and about leadership, what motivates people to become leaders. So if you know me, I'm not outgoing, I'm not an extrovert. I'm actually fairly quiet, and I am a counselor by nature, so I listen. But one way that I like to describe my leadership style is as servant leader. I would not ever ask anyone to do a job if I was not willing to do that job myself. And I feel like I need to help people. And so that's one of my motivators to be involved with GFWC. We're a helping organization. That's what we do. We help our other members. We help support our leadership. We help in our communities. And so one of the motivators for me to be a leader is to help others. And I find that that spark that happens for me when I joined GFWC was getting involved. And so not everybody thinks I'm going to be the chief, because I can be an Indian and be fine. But you don't have to be a chief to be the leader in your club. You can just step up and say, hey, I really like this project. I'd like to be the chair of this project. And that's how it started for me. There was a project that we were wanting to do in our club. It was a junior women's club. And I was very passionate about that project, and I asked to be able to lead it. And that started my journey, as just being willing to step forward and say, hey, I can do that. And I can be able to lead a project. It takes a village, and so it was forming a committee. We all know how to do that. Asking people. I have no problem whatsoever asking people to help other people. I may have problems asking people to help me, but I do not have problems asking other people for money for my club, for money for anything that doesn't benefit me. And so that's one of the things too, is that I can step out of, it's not about me, it's about helping other people. And that's what GFWC stands for me. That's what makes me passionate about our organization, is how much we help other people. What I'd also like to say is the benefits that I have learned from GFWC and how it's benefited me personally and professionally. Years ago, 30 years ago, there's no way I would have been able to stand in front of a crowd of hundreds of people and be able to talk about any topic. But I have, in my professional life, stood in front of hundreds, close to 1,000 people, and been able to give a well-prepared speech. I often have notes. I often can go off the cuff. I will tell you, one of the best people who can go off the cuff is Ida Dorvey, our past president. She's amazing at speaking. She has a wonderful gift to be able to get up and speak in front of people. My gift, though, is I'm a listener. I'm going to listen to what's happening in our organization and try to figure out ways to help that person. I'm sorry, I have something going on at my house that I need to take care of. I'm recording. Right. Thank you. So I am passionate about leadership. I am passionate about GFWC. I have been on this journey for a long time. And so that journey started 30 years ago. And it started when someone asked me to join a club. And I went to it and I thought, this is interesting. I'd like to help people. This is something I might be interested in doing. And then it was, I really like this project. I think I can do this project. Hey, I'm pretty creative. I can write the newsletter. Yeah, I could be the public issues department chair. Sure, I might be able to be the secretary. Okay, I can be the first vice president. Okay, I can be the president. And it started by saying yes and volunteering and being open to some change that was sometimes uncomfortable for me. And so it was that journey that led me through all these places. It was someone asking me at our district level to come onto the district board. It was someone asking me to move forward in that lineup. And I was very willing and open to do those things. And a lot of that was from support of other people in our state who had been mentors to me along the way and who have been supportive of me being in leadership positions. And that's one of the things that you'll find in our organization, is that our women do support each other. And so don't be afraid or worried that you're not going to get the support. Surround yourself with people who are going to support you. So it has been a long journey, and the journey continues. I said yes to Marion St. Clair when she asked me to be her GFWC Education and Libraries Chairman, and I'm very honored to be in that position and move forward and be able to help at the national level. And so that's one of the things that I feel like is, as you take these steps, you find what makes you passionate. And if it is chairing Special Olympics projects, if it is chairing Canine for Companions, whatever it is that draws you into stepping outside of your comfort zone, take that and run with it. Go with it as far as you can. Encourage other people to be involved. And so it's not always about being the Indian, because we can all, can be the Indian. So it's not always about being the chief, because we don't always have to be in charge. We can actually step back and let other people be in charge. We can step in and help when we need to help. And we can be those mentors to other people. If you've been in leadership positions, you can be that mentor to other people. So I continue to serve. Again, it's a servant leadership, how I define how I serve, because I like to help others. And I am GFWC. I am proud to be a member of GFWC, and I hope you are too. So I encourage you to take that step and find that leadership voice, whatever it may look like. If it's chairing a project, if it's the newsletter in your club, if it's being a district officer or taking that district committee, if it's at the state level, say yes. And then ask for help when you need it. Everyone needs help at some time, and we're all willing to be there. If you ever have any questions about leadership or anything that involves GFWC, I am more than willing to help. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody who does know the answer. So I very much appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today at Leeds. I will say that Shireen Daniel was state president, and Shireen and I talked, and I had gone to Leeds, and in GFWC, and I said, Shireen, we should bring this back to our state. And that's how it started. Is I got to go to international GFWC Leeds, and Shireen was open to it, and Shireen and I brainstormed and worked with Tammy Gillen and UGA, and was able to start that first Leeds workshop. And so that's the idea sometimes, is that it's an idea, it gets sparked, and then just take it and run with it. And I hope that you progress in your leadership journey. Again, I am always willing to help. Take care, and thank you, Becky, for allowing me to speak.
Now everyone knows why I love Tina so much. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. When Tina and I traveled together so much over the last few years, it was almost 4 years together traveling around. We became very close, and she is a wonderful leader. I know that. And so when I had the opportunity to ask her, I was like, wow, I know that she would be happy to do it for us, number one, and then bring a lot of information to us. So thank you, yes. Tina.
And I'll put a plug in, Becky. I'm the leadership chair for the Central East District, and we developed a toolkit that I am sending out to Central East. But if anybody would like a copy of the toolkit, I'll be glad to email them a copy. I'm leaning over. And it's a pretty hefty packet of things, but it's for the Central East, and it has a lot of ideas in it. So if anybody would like a copy, I will be glad to share something like this with them that gives them tips on how to lead a meeting. It gives you some ideas about some leadership quizzes. It talks about how to make a motion, how to write bylaws. So it's really a toolkit for officers, but anybody is welcome to have it, especially if you are the leadership chair in your club and or district. I'll be happy to share this with anybody.
Yeah, if you'll send it to us, Tina, we will definitely put that out on our website that we have. So
sounds
yeah,
awesome.
That would be awesome. But thank you again. I really appreciate it for coming. And And thank you for starting Leads for Georgia. It really, I attended several years ago as well, and that was one of the places that I kicked off my leadership career, was doing that. So, so thank you for doing that, and thank you for being with us today.
Yes, thank you, Becky. Y'all have a great leadership workshop today.
Okay. Hey, Diane.
Hey, Becky.
So do you know the historical event that we celebrated in August of 2020?
On August 18th, 2020, we celebrated the centennial anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, women's right to vote. And Lilburn Women's Club was so happy to celebrate this. We dressed in period costumes and hats, and we had signs and banners and sashes that were made by our members. And we had a great time celebrating this. One of the things you might not know is that Tennessee was the first state to ratify this amendment.
Right, I saw that picture and I was really amazed. That is amazing that you got out and celebrated that. But did you know that there's even more things that women have gained the right to do in recent history? One of those is to get a credit card in her own name. It wasn't until 1974 that a law forced credit card companies to issue cards to women without their husband's signatures.
That's amazing. And they also be guaranteed that they wouldn't be unceremoniously fired for the offense of getting pregnant. That changed with the Pregnancy Discrimination Act of 1978.
Wow. And serving on a jury. It varied by state. Utah deemed women fit for jury duty way back in 1879. But the main reason that women were kept out of the jury pools was that they were considered the center of the home, which was their primary responsibility as caregivers. They were also thought to be too fragile to hear the grisly details of crimes and too sympathetic by nature to be able to remain objective about those accused of offenses. In 1961, the Supreme Court unanimously upheld a Florida law that exempted women from serving on juries. It wasn't until 1973 that women could serve on juries in all 50 states.
Wow. And they couldn't get an Ivy League education. Yale and Princeton didn't accept female students until 1969. Harvard didn't admit women until 1977. Brown and Dartmouth and Columbia did not offer admission to women until 71, 72, and 81, respectively. Other specific instances allowed women to take certain classes at Ivy League institutions, but by and large, women in the 1960s were Harvard Ivy League dreams, had to put them on hold.
Wow. And women could not fight on the front lines. They were admitted into military academies in 1976, but it wasn't until 2013 that the military ban on women in conflict was lifted. Prior to 1973, women were only allowed in the military as nurses or support staff.
Well, they couldn't take legal action against workplace sexual harassment either. Indeed, the first time a court recognized office sexual harassment as grounds for any action was in 1977.
It's unbelievable. And did you know that women who decided not to have sex if their husband wanted to, spousal rape was not criminalized in all 50 states until 1993. Hear that again, 1993.
Oh boy. They couldn't obtain health insurance at the same monetary rate as a man. Sexual discrimination wasn't outlawed in health insurance until 2010. And today, many include sitting elected officials at the federal level. Women don't mind paying a little more. Again, that date was 2010. And, oh, one more thing, Becky. Prior to 1880, the age of consent for sex was set at 10 or 12 in most states, with the exception of our neighbor Delaware, where it was 7 years old.
That just makes me sick to my stomach, honestly. But all of that is facts that you don't even think about, and you don't realize that we've gained all those rights in recent history. So remember, ladies, that today your voice is just as important as it was 100, 200, and even last year. So be sure and use your right that so many people suffered to get for us and vote. Welcome to communications training. What do you say? How do you say it? And when do you say it? So today we're going to talk about communications and that it's vital to your club. It is important within your club and outside your club. We're going to give you some communication tools, and we're going to talk about virtual meetings.
Depending on the structure and size of your club, you might have an executive committee, CSP leaders, committee chairs, and your members. As the leader, be sure to include as many as possible. Be sure and delegate the duties as outlined in your bylaws and also by their job description. Establish a process of presenting ideas and approval of monies and time. Appointing a communications and public relations chair is very important. A leader might consider planning sessions at the beginning and middle of the year, plan an afternoon away with food and drinks, maybe even an overnight, and include some fun team building activities. Then bring those plans and decisions made back to the club to be voted on.
Always remember, notify your club members in advance of a large project discussion with the details so they can have their comments and questions ready. No one wants to feel like an event or project is forced upon them. You need each member's voice to be heard. Leadership includes leading your members towards larger goals, and communications is vital to this process.
Ask your members how they want to receive the communication. Do they want it in print, electronic? Are they open to change? Maybe some of the old and new. It's important to understand the communication style of your membership so they feel valued and heard. And also be knowledgeable of those who are a little technology challenged. Communication can be relayed in numerous ways. It is difficult to over-communicate. So within your club, there's things like email. A couple of examples would be MailChimp, which is free up to 2,000 email address and offers template customization and easy to use. There's Constant Contact that we use here in Georgia quite a bit. It's very affordable, and it's a great way to send information to the database of email addresses. It offers great customer support and the ability to poll individuals. And there's many other platforms for email. Social media is extremely important in communication. There's Facebook groups, Instagram groups, a club directory. My club has one that we keep on our group Facebook page. I can pull it up at any time for an address or a phone number. And paper copies can also be distributed. Also think about text messages, because I can guarantee you every member has a phone. Things like Remind 101, a group message. Also consider sending a link to your newsletter or other document for quick notification. There's phone calls, the old-fashioned way, and a phone tree. And of course, face-to-face. That's always a great way to communicate. newsletters, both paper and electronic, and know what your members want to see in the newsletter. You know, pictures, everybody loves pictures. And if you know me, I super love pictures. But everyone loves to see that. And kind of know what they want to see. Do they want celebrations? Do they just want information? Know your membership and provide that type of communication to them. And of course, a club website. Weebly is a good option at a little cost.
Communications outside your club for public relations and branding is extremely important. Without growth, your club will struggle. Here's a few suggestions. Social media, like a public page on Facebook or Instagram. Newspapers, word of mouth and flyers. Billboards and signage. Business cards. And a website is an excellent way for people to learn about your club. Sometimes people move into a community and are looking for a way to volunteer. Let's make that an easy find for them. Most importantly, keep your site updated.
Who would have thought back in February that your club may not be able to meet and conduct business in person for 6 to 9 months? Therefore, in our current environment, we have to be very creative with communication information. Many of us cannot get together face to face. So what are some of our other choices, Becky?
Well, Diane, we have quite a few. A virtual meeting is a great option. Let's cover quickly a couple of those types of medium that you can use. There's FaceTime. This will work for a small group if everyone has an iPhone, which is, depending on your group, could or could not be. You just create a small group and then you send out a message and everyone can FaceTime together. Email, as we've talked about before, is another way that you can host a meeting. It's very limited with internet speeds, but your business can be conducted with electronic votes within your state, your district, and your club bylaws. Make sure that those all understand that. SurveyMonkey, Constant Contact are two good options for taking surveys. Teams, this is a Microsoft product for Office 365 that is a great way to connect as well if you have that. The downside is the annual cost can be a little pricey. Big Marker is another great solution if you have a large group. It allows the group leader to monitor the meeting and control the audio and the video. It also allows handouts, chat functions, Q&A, recording. There is a cost to this product, but it is a great tool, especially for nonprofit organizations. Facebook Live. This is what we used when we had our state convention back in June. This solution will work well for a meeting. There's no cost to host this type of meeting, but it does require every participant to have a Facebook profile account. You simply set up your private group, invite the members to join the group. You can post the information. The meeting is recorded and can be viewed at a later time by group members. Like I said, there's no cost to this option. The downside is you can't see all the participants' faces during the meeting, and there's no audio except for the presenter. If you choose this type, I suggest having a script, and then make sure someone is monitoring the feed as it's coming through and can answer questions. One of the good ways to do it is Zoom. Zoom has been proven to be very effective and enjoyable by the participants. The service can be used up to 100 participants for 40 minutes with no cost and various plans that are affordable. There is no time limit if you want to have a one-to-one with one of your friends. The features include both audio and video, controls by the meeting host, and can share documents to the group. You have a chat function, recording, reactions, like raising your hand. It really is a great option. I do want to give you just a couple of tips for having a good meeting. Number one, don't be afraid of it. Venture out, try something new. Visual, you can see each other's faces and you can talk live with each other. In this day and time, if that just feels good. Make the meeting fun with a theme. Try a hat party, a recipe swap, any number of things. Also, always give plenty of notice with the dial-in information, and be considerate of the time of the meeting to include most of your members. You might even consider this type of meeting anytime to stay connected, even without a pandemic. It might just be the most convenient way to gather new members, and those that have other restrictions on their time. Share the documents while on the virtual meeting. Just as we've done today, we're sharing this document. You can do that.
Becky, did you know that projects can be done virtually? You can set up a link to purchase items on Amazon and send for a particular project. You can also have people write cards or notes on a particular project and drop it off or mail for distribution.
Fundraising can be shared virtually depending upon the rules of your state. Hold an auction or an online opportunity raffle or any number of different ways to raise money. Plan ahead for all your members to have access, considering a tech buddy for those who need assistance.
You can have your meeting and conduct your business. Voting is possible through either raising of hands or verbally or a poll on some platforms.
And I would also suggest hosting a virtual challenge. Communicate the information ahead of your scheduled meeting so you can have the results to show at the meeting. The GFWC Junior Conference recently had a virtual group selfie contest. We had a theme, and we could use props or cartoons or any other means of creating it. My group had a great time, and I wanted to share it with you. Bet you can't guess what the theme was. Yes, it was giraffe, because that's what Christina's symbol is. You know, we really bonded together doing this project. And as you can see from the picture, everyone was very creative. There were simple rules, just making a selfie with a group of friends. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. The options are endless. Frida, do you have a couple of housekeeping tips for us?
Yes, I do have just a few suggestions that I would like to share anytime you are connecting virtually. Remind participants that the audience can see and hear everything that's going on. Ask everyone to silence their cell phones so they are not disturbed during the meeting. Be engaged in the meeting. Resist the urge to look at your phone or pick it up. Ask everyone to please respect when someone is speaking. A good rule is no one speaks for 3 seconds after the last person stops speaking. Consider asking everyone to mute and raise their hand with comments or questions. Utilize the chat function in a large group meeting.
So in conclusion, remember that communication is the key to a successful leader. If you did not attend the CPR webinar back in July that GFWC International hosted, I encourage you to go and sign up. Simply go to www.gfwc.org, go to the member portal and sign up for the upcoming webinars in September. There were ones on leadership and communication. The same one from July will be available for replay. I can tell you that as a member of a committee at the international level, this information is very, very valuable, especially when you're communicating in this day and time. So here it is, hats off to leadership. Thank you for attending.
I would like to introduce our next speaker, Julie Walters, who is currently serving as GFWC Georgia Secretary. Julie has been a club woman for many years, and she has served as club president, district president, and many, many committees. And she's also currently serving on the convention committee for GFWC Toronto. I asked Julie to speak today for just a few minutes about 501c3, budgeting, how to handle money within a club, and those are a few of the things she's going to talk about. I think you will enjoy her unique presentation today. So welcome, Julie Walters.
GFWC Georgia and your club's money. Your club held that fun dance that generated a lot of money for your club. You worked hard to raise that money, so it is important that you are a good steward of it. A club budget. It is vital to the success of your club that you manage your club funds with a budget. Budgeting allows you to create a spending plan for your money. It ensures that you will always have enough money for the things you need and the things that are important to you. Put simply, managing your club on a budget is a fundamental component of proper financial management. The club budget is formatted by the treasurer with input from the other officers. The budget is first approved by the board, then presented to the membership for approval. Once approved, you should manage your club within the budget. If things change and you need to make adjustments, you do not spend more than what is budgeted, you must amend your budget. At club meetings or in your newsletters, give members an update on the budget. At the end of the club year, make sure to have an independent review of your budget and checking account. One good practice is to require that members complete and submit an expense report and a receipt to achieve reimbursement. Who can sign your club checks? It is best practice to have 2 signers on the account. It is also best practice to have someone other than the person who signs the checks reconcile the monthly bank statement. With the ability of online banking, multiple club members can have access to review the club accounts. As you work to create your club budget, you will decide how much to budget to donate to the Student Art Fund, to Lula Falls School, the Ella F. White Fund, the Lipscomb Society, the Presidents and Junior Directors Projects and dues. Remember, GFWC Georgia dues are due by December 1st. Belonging to the General Federation of Women's Clubs and the Georgia Federation affords clubs and club women unlimited resources and opportunities. We are stronger together than as one. Are you considering becoming a 501c3 organization? To apply for recognition by the IRS of exempt status under Section 501c3 of the Code, use a Form 1023 series application. The application must be submitted electronically on www.pay.gov and must, including the appropriate user fee. How long does it take to become a 501c3 organization? Typically, IRS 501c3 approval takes between 2 and 12 months, inclusive of likely written follow-up questions. Sometimes it takes a little less, sometimes a little more. What is the difference between a 501c and a 501c3? Many people think that 501c and 501c3 means the same thing, but they are actually 2 different tax categories in the Internal Revenue Code. However, a 501c organization may not allow its donors to write off donations, while a 501c3 organization lets its donors take tax deductions on their contributions. What are the tax exemption benefits of a 501c3? Exemption from federal income tax. Tax-deductible contributions. Possible exemption from state income, sales, and employment taxes. Reduced postal rates. Exemption from federal unemployment tax, and tax-exempt financing. Is a 501c4 a charitable organization? Contributions to 501c4 organizations are not tax-deductible as charitable donations unless the organization is either a volunteer fire department or a veterans organization. The purpose of these organizations is to support individuals within the group who may have fallen on hard times and the general welfare of the organization's members. What is a 501c5? Labor, agricultural, and horticultural organizations fall under this designation. Their missions are education, improvement of working conditions, and increases in efficiency and quality. What are the advantages of becoming a nonprofit organization? Tax exemption and deduction. Organizations that qualify as public charities under Internal Revenue Code 501c3 are eligible for federal exemption from payment of corporate income tax. Once exempt from this tax, the nonprofit will usually be exempt from similar state and local taxes. If an organization has obtained 501c3 tax-exempt status, and individuals or companies' charitable contributions to this entity are tax-deductible. Eligibility for public and private grants. Many foundations and government agencies limit their grants to public charities. Nonprofit organizations also can offer tax deductions to individuals or businesses that give charitable contributions. Formal structure. A nonprofit organization exists as a legal entity in its own right and separately from its founders. Incorporation puts the nonprofit's mission and structure above the personal interests of individuals associated with it. Limited liability. Under the law, creditors and courts are limited to the assets of the nonprofit organization. The founders, directors, members, are not personally liable for the nonprofit's debts. However, there are exceptions. A person cannot use the corporation to shield illegal or irresponsible acts on his/her part. Also, directors have a fiduciary responsibility. If they do not perform their jobs in the nonprofit's best interests, and the nonprofit is harmed, they can be held liable. You might have to retain a lawyer or hire a CPA to help you apply and be granted a nonprofit status. To review all of the nonprofit options available to you, visit the Internal Revenue Service website at irs.gov. Take the responsibility of your club money serious. Be a trusted good steward.
Well, Diane, we're ready for our next part of our webinar, and that is on training our offices and our CSP leaders. So what do you have to share with us today?
Well, Becky, what I'd like to share is the fact that as a leader, you have a lot of different experiences. And I have been a leader in the arena of the club level, the district level, and now I have the opportunity to be in the state level, which I'm real excited about. I've had other opportunities in my nursing career, done a lot of training at the national, international, and local levels. So what I'd like to share with you today is a PowerPoint presentation. And obviously it's on training elected officers and community service program chairs. So we're going to start with the agenda.
Wow, why is an agenda so important?
Well, it keeps you on track, it keeps you on time, and it assures that the trainer knows all the intended ideas that are going to be conveyed. And I'm going to share some examples of agendas with you today. So what I want to cover, though, is types and tips for training in general, specifics for the officers, the CSPs, some succession planning tips, and strategic planning.
Diane, I think this is amazing because I know even in my history, it's wonderful to be able to have this information at your fingertips, because so many times people don't understand how important that agenda is.
Absolutely, Becky. So on the tips and types of training, there are really two types that I've had experience with. One is a facilitator, which is really what I'm doing today. And you're learning maybe some new ideas, but you also are allowed to bring your experience and your personal spin on training to the table, which is really so much fun. And then there's another type, which is really the expert, and you're training your audience on a specific skill. And that's a little bit more detailed and can be fun too, because you can use that facilitator tips. So I want to talk to you a little bit about tips of training in general and specifics for having a good meeting as well as a training session. So you need to make your objectives clear with an agenda. So a meeting should have a specific and defined purpose. Did you send out a calendar invite? Do you know what you want to accomplish? Are you alerting people to a change in your strategy? Are you seeking input from others that are facing a problem, perhaps in your club? Are you looking to arrive at a decision or a particular matter? Meetings might have vague purposes such as status updates, which is not usually a good use of your time. So make your objectives clear. Who do you want to invite? Are you having a guest speaker? Are you having people discuss how they feel? This is really important when you're looking at your audience. Make sure and stick to your schedule. Having that agenda, again, is really important, along with the timeline. You're going to start on time and end on time. Take no hostages. Remember, derailing a meeting faster than one person's talking is more than his fair share can really put you at a disadvantage. So one of the things that you can say is, we appreciate your contributions and your input, but we need to get input from others before making a decision. It's a very tactful way to say it's time to move on. Stay on time and end on time, which I mentioned before. Have a reputation for being respectful of people's time. People appreciate it when you understand that their time is valuable. I would really ban technology. Ask people if you're doing a Zoom meeting to put their phones on silent, and don't answer a phone call while you're on a meeting. Always follow up. Make sure that you do an evaluation on your training, but also give people the details. If you can send out your PowerPoint presentation or any handouts, that's very helpful. You have to take the steps to make things that way so that you do have successful training. So now I'm going to share with you some specifics for club officers. And Becky and I are going to practice a little icebreaker. So Becky, what we're going to do is you're going to describe yourself using an adjective that starts with the letter of your first name. And I'll give you an example. I say, I'm dynamic Diane. What about you, Becky?
I think I am bold Becky.
Bold Becky's good. I like that. So you could start your meetings or your training with an icebreaker. It gets people laughing. It gets them to know what they're all about, and break down some barriers possibly. Also, you're going to refer for club officers to the bylaws, which is where their specific responsibilities are outlined. It's easy for them to get confused, so it's good to review those with each specific officer. What about the budget? Not everybody can read a budget, and that's one thing that you could have your treasurer there, possibly having a co-treasurer as well, and have them explain what they want you to do with expense reports. For example, in my club, we have a rule where you cannot take a expense report and send it in without getting the approval of the CSP or a specific club officer. So they have to sign that or send an email that they approve that to the treasurer. Parliamentary procedure. Have a motion form available for them to see in your training. Go over how to make a motion. That's really important for club officers. The president has a lot of other responsibilities, but if you're doing the training, you need to make sure that they understand that. And it's a really good idea for them to have a little cheat sheet, and you can teach them how to do that. Review the standing rules. Those are a lot easier to change than your bylaws, so people need to be very specific about standing rules. What about reports? The president has to do a leadership and a fundraising report. First vice president does membership, and second vice president does reporting. Those are just some examples of reports. We'll go into a little bit more detail with the CSPs. Strategic planning. Assign an officer to lead a group to do strategic plan. And in our club, we have one for 5 years. So we're working on 2019 to 2024, I believe now. And I have an officer that is specific for that. Succession planning suggests that each officer have a club member to partner with so that they can teach them the ropes or they can learn together. There's great resources in the GFWC yearbook under leads, and also make sure that you give time for questions. That's really important. The specifics for CSPs, a little bit of difference. Start with the icebreaker. I would have all of your club officers there, and also review their responsibilities. Make sure that they have a handout, and I'm going to provide you with that handout at a later date. Make sure that they know how to use expense reports. They should get a budgetary report from the treasurer at least once per quarter, depending upon your club's spending habits. The first parliamentary procedure, again, they need to be able to make a motion. And how do you do that? What are the standing rules? There's a great handout that I found that I'm going to share, which talks about the difference between standing rules and bylaws. And CSPs need to know what those differences are. Share those meeting tips that I shared earlier with them. Make sure that they understand what the plan of work is from the yearbook. If there are specific partnerships that are outlined in the yearbook, please make sure that they understand what those are. And again, always leave time for questions. What is succession planning? Well, officers, you need to find someone who you believe have the skills that will complement the office and invite them for coffee or even an adult beverage. CSPs, find a committee member who has a passion for your projects and work with them as a potential leader. And they can be the co-chair this year or next year, possibly. Remember, all you might need to do for that succession planning is to ask. And this succession planning is critical to the success of your club's longevity. Strategic planning. We have in our strategic plan the following areas that we deal with: leadership, membership, finances, governance, community outreach, communication, internal and external. And I'll just give you an example of communications. We have a communications director, and she deals with the external communications. In this circumstance, this year, internal communications are really the responsibility of the president. But that's just my club. Your club may have a different way to do things. These are all just ideas for you to follow. And I think that that's all I have for today, other than you possibly could do training for your officers that maybe include or have available to them presentations on conflict resolution, public speaking, and time management. Explain GFWC resources. You can have discussions on GFWC policies, procedures, and parliamentary law, tips and techniques on pursuing leadership opportunities. Becky, what do you think is the most important tip that you can impart to our leads participants?
I think the most important tip that I could give to them is to learn and to not be afraid to take on the responsibility, but be sure and train yourself. Leaders aren't just, some people are natural leaders, but everyone can benefit by learning. And there's lots and lots of resources. There's activities, there's all kind of things in the yearbook and on our website that we want people to take advantage of.
And I'm going to end with my idea of the most important tip for, as a leader, to exhibit the quality of humility. You can tell people all day long what you know, but the most important idea is to let your club leaders know that you care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. That was wonderful information and training for officers. And if we're always here, if you have any questions, please reach out to Diane or myself, and we'll be happy to try to help you with any resources that you need. Thanks, Diane. That was great information.
Thank you, Becky.
Well, thank you for attending Leads 2020 webinar. We appreciate you coming and celebrating. Hats off to leadership with us.
Becky, it has been such an exciting day learning about the different types of hats that leaders wear. And are you always putting out fires and wearing your fireman's hat? Do you feel like you're always roping in members? Is your club floating along or full steam ahead? Are you a diva or a working leader?
Are you being creative with your meetings? Are you at the top of your game? Be sure to smile. Are you the manager of a great team? Are you on track for conducting a meeting?
Well, always remember that leaders smile. Smile means to smile, motivate, inspire, lead, and excel. Remember, you are the gem of GFWC Georgia as a leader.
We have provided an evaluation feedback form for you. It will be posted on the GFWC Georgia.org site, along with the other handouts and videos, as well as PowerPoint presentations.
Be sure to have a candidate from your club submit an application to represent GFWC Georgia in Toronto in June 2021. The deadline is February 1st, and the application can also be found in the GFWC Georgia yearbook.
So here's hats off to leadership.
And remember, GFWCGeorgia.org, click on the smile logo and scroll down to September 5th. Any questions you have can be sent to leads@gfwcgeorgia.org. Congratulations to the Leads class of 2020. Hats off to leadership.